Hey, welcome to another episode of the Paul Nichols podcast show. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and we are going to be going through all of the different business models that I have used over the last 17 years. So although there's hundreds of different ways that you can make money on the internet, we're going to be going through the things that I have actually used over the last 17 years to make money with, so I can talk from experience of exactly how easy or hard any of these actually are. So let's dive in. So different types of business models. So business model number one is CPA marketing. So in case you don't know what that is, CPA was very big many years ago when I first got started around 2008 to 2010. That was really popular. Now, some people still use it today. I don't personally do it much anymore, but I know some people do really well with it, and you can make some good money with it. It does work, it's a good model to use. However, it's something that I found to be extremely difficult. The reason why I say that is because CPA marketing is basically where you get people to fill out some type of a survey, or you get them to take some type of action and you get paid. It could be paid per lead, it could be paid per email submit. So there's all different ways that you're going to get paid from these different companies out there. And the main way that you're going to be making money with this actual method is paid traffic. That's generally the best way to do it, because that way you can really get some big traffic. But it's just a case of you spending less money than you make from the actual email submit or from the lead that enters their email into a particular page, whatever it may be. So it's just a case of you spending less money in order to make more money with CPA. Yeah, and that's pretty much how the model works. Now, of course, you can use free traffic, but paid traffic, from what I found anyway, when I used it, paid traffic is really the best way to go. So I tried CPA marketing. I did make some money with it. It worked okay, but it wasn't something that I could really see myself doing for any length of time. In my experience, in my opinion, it's something that you can use once you already have a business in place. Because when I did it back in about 2009, I did it for a couple of years, off and on, and I made some okay money with it, but I just found that it was one of them models where you're probably best to use it once you have a business already in place, because it's one of those models where you can play around with some paid traffic, and if you're making money already, you can then afford to maybe spend a couple of $1,000s a month on some paid traffic. And if you can then 5x your advertisement dollars, so if you're spending, let's say, $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month on ads, and you can make back $6,000 or $7,000, then that's obviously good. That's a successful campaign. But it's really one of them things that you only really want to get into once you already have a business in place. It's up to you, but as I said, I found that the paid traffic method worked the best for this particular model. That is just what I found. As I say, you can use free traffic, but it will take a lot longer, a hell of a lot longer, because you're going to have to build the traffic methods up with free traffic, and that does take much longer to do. So moving on. So number two, MLM. In case you don't know what MLM is, that is multi-level marketing. And in this particular example, this is going to be a BizOp type of MLM. Now, this is frowned upon. So it's one of them things where not everyone thinks that it's very ethical. We won't get into that, but I tried it. I tried MLM back in 2011, 2012, and it wasn't for me. In fact, I think I did this for about 4 or 5 years, off and on, from about 2008 to about 2012. And it wasn't really for me. The reason is because I didn't really ever feel like it was something really for me. I didn't feel like I was really building anything for the future. Yeah, because the way it worked for me is I was pushing a business opportunity for some other company. So you're kind of just like an affiliate. Now this is just how it worked for me. I'm not saying that everyone out there feels the same or anyone else out there doesn't do well with MLM. That's fine if you do, but my experience is MLM, I didn't really enjoy it. I was kind of jumping in and out for a few years. Again, I made some okay money with it. I probably made quite a few $1,000s from it over a few years. I would say probably a lot more than that. I can't remember now. It was so long ago. But I did make money with it and I did okay, but it just wasn't for me. So if you do get into MLM and maybe you've come across all these different BizOps, just be aware that it might not be for you. You can try it and just go from there. Now, number 3, website creation for offline businesses. This is a business model that I did for a couple of years and it actually worked out quite well. In fact, it worked out that well that I've started to do it again now. However, it is a business the same as anything. It's no good you thinking to yourself, well, you can just do, a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there. It is something that you kind of have to commit to, because if you want to be taken seriously, then you do have to learn a little bit about the business. Now, basically what you do is you create websites for local companies, for local businesses. Now, when I did this back in 2012 to 2015, I did it for about 3 to 4 years. And although I didn't make a lot of money from it, I did make a little bit. I was making some money up front for building the site, but there was no ongoing profits. But there's a tip that I'm going to share with you, how you can actually build a recurring with this. And this is what I now do. So with the website creation, you basically approach local companies that don't have a website, don't have any online presence, and you create them, build them a website. I used to do it through WordPress. So I would register them a domain name of their own choice. So I would go and search for some domain names on some of the places like Namecheap, places like that. And then I would give them a selection of different websites that are available or different domains that are available. And then they would buy one, I would pay for it, and then I would charge them a fee. Of course, I tell them this before I even go and buy the domain. I charge them a fee. It was something like £150 up front. At the time, I was charging about £300 per website build, but I used to do it through WordPress and use templates, so it was quite easy. And the domain name was all in there as well. That was all part of it. That cost me like $10. So I would get £150 up front, and then they would give me another £150 when the job was complete. So you're going to get some money. It's no good you doing it for free initially and then they pay you after you've built it, because some people will change their mind. Just bear that in mind. So like I just said, the best way to do it is to create a bit of a recurring income from this model. And this took me a little bit of time to actually work this out. It's all well and good you creating upfront money, but you're just trading your time for money. Yeah. So that's not what you're trying to achieve. You want to try and create some type of a recurring, ongoing income. Yeah. Monthly. So the best way to do it, what I found, is you can offer to host their website for them for a monthly cost of say $10, $15, $20, pounds, whatever it is, whatever country you're in. And this is, from what I found, the best way to do it. So this way you profit from two different revenue streams. You can get upfront money from the client for building the site, and then also you can then charge them a monthly fee for hosting their website for them. Because most people that you build sites for, they won't have any idea about the hosting side of things. So the best thing to do is just not really go too deep into it. You can just explain that you will host it, you need some web space, and you will host it for them for a low monthly fee. And then any edits, any technical issues, they contact you. This way, you hold the keys for their business, you own the domain name, you own the website and the domain, the hosting as well. So you're in complete control of their business. Now, that's not to say that you could start, putting your prices up really, really high, because that's not what I'm saying. But because you hold all the keys to their business, they are going to want to keep paying you on a monthly basis. Because otherwise, if they don't pay you, then of course you're going to take their site down. Yeah. So this is a good way to build a recurring income. So you get upfront money and you get monthly recurring payments as well from your customers and your clients. And I found that this business model is quite profitable. The reason why I didn't continue with it is because I was focused more online, and I am now, but I've now got a bit more time. So website creation for offline businesses is really good. It is a good way to do things, and you can get a lot of customers and clients from Facebook pages, groups. There's lots of different companies out there that still don't have a web presence, that still don't have an internet presence. So that is another good way to make money, and I used that for a while. I made some okay money with it, but it's something that once you start to build maybe like 20 or 30 monthly clients, you can really start to build a good monthly income. So it's a good model to use. Go and use it if that's something that you want to do. Number 4, list building. List building is a business model in itself. Most successful online business owners will be building a list of some description. That's just the way online businesses work and function. I build lists, most people do. So list building is profitable. I've been doing this for many, many years. The reason why this is profitable is because you're building a list of subscribers and customers that are either interested in the stuff that you could possibly sell to them, or they have already bought a product from you. So they have now become a customer. So whether they're going to be a subscriber or a customer, you're building a list. This is a really good way to build a successful online business. Yeah, list building. I'm sure you've heard of it before. If you haven't, then you can start to learn it. There's lots of places that you can go to learn how to build lists. It's quite simple. It's basically just building an opt-in page. Someone enters their name and email and they join your email list. Or if you sell an online product of some description, then once they purchase, then you will get their details. So list building is very, very profitable. It's very, very good. It's a really good online business model. So moving on, number 5, product launching. Now this is something that I can talk a lot about because I've launched many, many products over the years. Product launching is mainly I would say there's different industries and different markets that you can launch products in. If you are in the online business and online marketing space, then you can launch and release products on a more of a regular basis because things change. Information changes very, very quickly. Over the last few years, information has changed so much that courses that were relevant 3 years ago, some of them are now not relevant because things have changed so much. Not only that, but technology changes, different tools are released, different types of software, and I would say just general tools are released. So that then allows you to create different types of products. And I've been launching products for over 13 years and I've made well over 1.6 million, 1.5 million, something like that. I've made plenty of money launching products. So I know that the model works really, really well. But again, this is just my experience. I found that launching products is very, very profitable. However, there is a big learning curve. So the learning curve is very steep and it could take you a long time to really master the whole product launching model. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about launching products, but I know the process. I know what you have to do. And I've made enough money in that space to understand that there's a process to go through. You have to obviously create the product, which means you have to know how to make videos or software or a plugin or an ebook. Then you have to host that product in a particular area so your customers can then download it. Then you have to create a sales page, a sales funnel, put your product on a particular platform to sell it, then have a payment processor, take money, take affiliates on. Are you going to pay affiliates 50% commission, 100% commission, 75% commission, and then are you going to have some type of a contest? So top affiliates will get will get rewards at the end of it. So there's all these different things to bear in mind, and also what type of product do you make? Do you have a list of customers that already want the stuff that you're going to make? So there's all these different questions that you need to know how to answer. So product launching is very, very profitable. However, there is a lot of information that you have to learn. It's one of them things where the best thing to do is just launch your first product, and you're going to learn so much from launching your first product. Of course, if you're in a different industry, a different market, so say if you're in let's say the yoga industry or the yoga market, okay, or you're some type of a fitness trainer, then there's going to be stuff that you can make and products that you can create and make and release. Of course there is, but the information doesn't change as frequent as it does in the online marketing space, because there's always different information coming out, different techniques, methods. As soon as Google changes some of their algorithm, different tools come out, then different social media platforms start, and then different methods are found, different strategies are then taught. This is done. So there's always different things to be learning in the online marketing space. And as I just said, if you're in something like the fitness industry, you can still release products, but it isn't a market, from my experience anyway, it isn't a market where products get released that often. Nowhere near as often as the online marketing industry. So yeah, product launching, very, very profitable, but there is a process and there is a lot to learn. There really is a lot to learn, but it's good, also good fun. It's something that you can have fun with. It's not all work, because once you create the actual product itself and you release it, of course you then get an influx of money, of sales and payments if it is a bit of a success. So it can be really good fun and a really quick way of building a good business, and especially if you build a list of customers from your product, which you should be. There's no reason why you're going to be selling a new product and not keep hold of the customer, not keep the customer's details. So yeah, product launching, very, very good and good fun as well. Moving on, niche sites, number 7. Niche sites are something that I've used before. In fact, I used them to see my first bit of success back in 2010. That was when I started to make some good money from niche sites. When I say niche sites, I'm talking about small 5 to 10 page sites where you put content on them and then you can monetize them in a number of different ways. You can put Amazon affiliate links on there. You can put general affiliate marketing links on there. General affiliate offers on there from maybe ClickBank, places like that. So whatever niche that your site is built around, you just find related products within that niche. And I built quite a few of these back in 2010. I did this for about 2 or 3 years, and it is good fun, but the traffic that you get from it is generally going to be free traffic from Google. This is how I did it anyway. There are other ways you can get free traffic, but I mainly used Google traffic from Google. It was good. It was good fun. However, we've actually missed one, haven't we? We've actually product launching, should be membership sites. Anyway, niche sites. We'll go back to membership sites in just a second. So niche sites, yeah, they are good. They are good fun. However, the same as anything, there is a learning curve. There is a learning process. You need to know how to build sites, get all the right plugins for it. You need to know a little bit about SEO, search engine optimization, how to rank your sites in the search engines, get traffic to them. But it is something that will serve you well moving forward. All of this stuff that you learn is not going to be a waste of time, because it will serve you well moving forward. This is all part of the bigger picture, okay? And we'll talk about that right at the end of today's episode. But niche sites are something that I used to be really passionate about. I used to love building them. I used to find products on Amazon and build an entire site around it, and then review different products, recommend them, send people over to Amazon, and then I would get a commission. That was how I used to make some of my money back in the day, over 15, 20 years ago, 2008, 2009. So yeah, a long time ago now. But that's how I used to do things, and I found it good fun, but time consuming, and there is a learning curve, and it can be very, very difficult if you're a bit of a beginner, because there's a lot to learn. So let's go back to the one I missed, which is membership sites. I can't believe I missed that, because membership sites, number 6, this is on the list, number 6, membership sites, absolutely brilliant. I love membership sites. Of course, I've got my own membership site now, which is coffeeshopincome.com. Now, if you do want to learn more from me, what I'm giving you in this episode is just a very small look into all of the stuff that I actually teach, and I teach everything else within Coffee Shop Income. So you can go over there, check it out. In fact, I will give you a free 7-day bootcamp. So if you go to coffeeshopincome.com/bootcamp, I'm going to give you a free 7-day training video series. This is all about building a profitable internet-based business that you can function from anywhere in the world. So although that is my membership site, that 7-day bootcamp is completely free. So you can go over there and access that. You just go and enter your email on the next page. So coffeeshopincome.com/bootcamp, and then enter your email, and then I will send you a special link where you can go and watch the first video. These are all completely free. There's nothing to pay. There's nothing to do. You just watch the videos, and there's lots more stuff I'm going to teach you. So number 6, as I said, membership sites, really, really good. Now, there is a lot to learn. I'm going to be honest. I've used membership sites before. The one I've got now, Coffee Shop Income, is just the site that I've got now. This is, of course, my own membership site that I'm running now as part of my business. I did have a membership site many, many years ago, back in about 2014 to about 2017, which I ran for like 2 or 3 years. However, I wasn't happy with that membership site because the actual domain name I didn't like, because it had my name in it. I didn't want something that was too personalized to my name. That wasn't something that I wanted to do. So over the years, I've changed the model slightly as well. Plus, there was lots of other things that I wanted to change. So what I've decided to do is call it something a little bit generic, and this is why I've called it Coffee Shop Income, because I do a lot of my work from coffee shops. I love to sit in coffee shops and type on my laptop and do some work. So that's why I called it Coffee Shop Income. I wanted to call it something a bit different rather than just my name and the membership site, which I called it back in 2015. So membership sites are really, really good. There is a lot to learn though, and you have to decide what model to choose and what model to to use to make money with. I could talk about membership sites for 2 days. There's so much I've learned since 2014 over the last 10 years. Again, I don't know everything. There's still things that I learn now, and as more data comes in from the traffic I get and from the sales I get from my own membership site, I learn more and more as time goes on, as I'm sure you'd imagine. But what I have learned over the last 10 plus years of building membership sites is there's different ways that you can set them up. You can drip feed the content. You can charge different amounts of money for people coming in. You can give people a trial. You can just charge a one-off fee for like complete access. You can charge a monthly fee. You could open your membership site 2 or 3 times a year. So it could be a closed membership site. It could be an open membership site like mine. Mine is open 24 hours a day. It just depends what you're trying to achieve in your particular type of business. It's no good me telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that, because everyone's business is slightly different, and your particular business will be slightly different to mine. However, there are certain things that I've learned over the years which I would say are crucial to the success of a membership site. Of course, you need a steady amount of traffic and leads coming into your membership site, because if you just generate, say, 50 customers, and you think that you're going to be generating money from those 50 people that are paying you monthly on a monthly basis for years, then that's not going to happen, because there is a churn. There is a lifetime customer value of every person that joins your site. It could be 1 month, it could be 5 years, but at some point people will leave. And this is the thing about membership sites, is they're brilliant, but you do need a little bit of a steady supply of new people coming through. It's just the way it is. People don't generally spend years in membership sites. In fact, I've had some of my customers spend a long time in my site, but not everyone will stay for years. So bear that in mind. But it's a great model, very profitable, very good fun, and it's somewhere where you can build a bit of a community. Because when you just make normal products, you don't have a community of people. You just create a product, people go through it, learn from it, and that's it. Whereas a membership site, you can have all different types of things going on in the background. You can do webinars, you can do free training calls, you can get people to sort of all join in and come online at the same time, and go on Zoom or Teams, and you can all access the training, and you can all have a bit of a discussion, fire questions at each other and stuff. So there's all different ways that you can build a really good community of people by having a membership site. You can kind of do that with a product as well if you've got an email list, but a membership site is something that I've just always loved to do. I really do like the model. So if you're thinking about doing it, it is a good model, but there is a lot to learn. As I said, I could talk about this for 2 or 3 days. There's so much stuff that I've learned over the years. But there is a lot to learn. Of course, you need to choose what membership script you want to use to actually secure your content, because it's not just a case of, oh, well, I'll just buy a website, or I'll just buy a domain name, throw a website up, put some content in there and send people to it. Well, that's not going to work, because there's a business that goes on behind the website, as in you need some type of software or tool which will allow your customers to watch particular content that they have permission to view. So if someone's paying you on a monthly basis, then that means they get access to content that you allow them to access. Anyone that tries to access your content that has not joined as a paid member, you don't want them to be able to access the content. So this is when you need some type of a membership script or membership tool to have on your website. So these are all things that you need to bear in mind when you build membership sites. And yes, you can use free platforms. You can go and use like a Facebook page or a Facebook group, but that isn't very professional. You can do that, and that is something that you can do short term, but it's not something that you want to do to really sort of grow a sustainable business. You don't want to focus on platforms like that, because you won't own anything. It's not professional, but it's okay just to maybe do a little bit of a test. So moving on. So membership sites, yeah, really, really enjoy them. My experience is I've found them to work really, really well, and they fit really well within the things I do. So if you're going to use them, use them, but just be aware that you are going to have a steady supply of people coming in. It's no good you just thinking that you can just get some people in and just make money for years on end, because you might think that membership sites are great for passive income, and they are, but you do need people coming in as well. So moving on, number 8, authority site and blog. So what does that mean exactly? Well, an authority site or blog is some kind of a website which has a fairly big amount of authority on the web. These types of sites normally get a lot of traffic, and they have a lot of trust. Yeah. I did have an authority site many, many years ago, but I got rid of it. I moved it on because it wasn't something that I wanted to do. The reason, and again, this is just my experience, is because I found that the only way you can truly build an authority site is by just spending a lot of time on it. You need to be adding a lot of content. You need to be branding the site. You need to be trying to get it ranked for different keywords, making sure that your site is appearing in the search engines. So there is a lot of work to it. It's not something that you would necessarily just have to focus on that one thing and that's it. You know, you can run other businesses as well, but just bear in mind that it will take a lot of time. A niche site is much easier, but it's not going to be anywhere near as profitable. You know, authority sites are sites that get thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions of visitors per month. There's lots of sites out there. I'm sure you know of some authority sites. Of course, YouTube is an authority site. Yeah, you know, Facebook, you know, sites like that. But there's lots of other authority sites as well that aren't anywhere near as big as those sites, but they're still classed as authority blogs and sites because they still get millions of visitors per month or hundreds of thousands. So building an authority site is something I got into. I did it for quite a number of months and I was beginning to get some good traffic. However, I got to a point and thought, you know what, this is a lot of work. I really don't want to be working on this as much as I am. So I ended up, I basically moved it on. I sold the site and I got some okay money for it and I moved it on and I just kind of forgot about it and just never went back to it. But that's my experience of authority site building. It works okay and you can make some very, very good money. And you can get some good traffic and get some private advertisement on there as well. But it's not something that really worked for me and it's not something that I really enjoyed that much. But I know there are some people out there that are using this model and it's working out really well for them. So number 9, YouTube channel. Yeah, again, been doing YouTube for many, many years. I've had a few different YouTube channels over the years. Some of them I've chosen not to pursue and I've kind of just let them fizzle out. But I've been using YouTube for a long, long time. The number one thing I will say to you, the biggest tip about a YouTube channel is treat it as a search engine. Do not treat it as a business because it isn't a business. Treat it for what it is, and that is a search engine. Yes, of course you can make money on YouTube by getting monetized, but there's so much more going on or so much more potential if you use it to also direct people to other areas in your business. So you have a website, have some other platforms online as well where you have content where you're also building up. So this way you're not just relying on one single platform, and this is what I do. So I use YouTube. We're on YouTube. I mean, you might be watching this on YouTube. You could be listening to this on one of our podcast platforms, whatever it is. But I use YouTube as a good platform, but I don't just rely on YouTube. There's lots of other platforms out there that I use. So that's my biggest piece of advice, really. And I've made money on YouTube. I've had a lot of traffic on YouTube over the years, and I do like it. I think it's a really good place to learn and also share content. As we all know, it's a really, really good place. However, it is a search engine. Use it for what it is. You can then funnel people to different areas from YouTube, and the same as anything, it takes time to learn and especially to master. There's lots and lots of things to learn. Of course, making the videos, thumbnails, content, keywords, how to get traffic, how to talk on the video, what type of things to create, what sort of content to create, camera angles, audio, colors. There's all these different things. The number one thing I would just say is just focus on your content. Yeah, my content isn't always that polished, but I focus on the content. I don't focus on all of the special effects and all of the extra, the icing on the cake. I focus on giving you content, and this is what I've done in my products. This is what I've done in just about everything over the last 17 to 18 years. Because at the end of the day, when people watch your videos or listen to your podcasts, they have a problem that they're trying to solve, or they need help with a particular area in their business or in their life, whichever market they're in. And of course, some people will just go to YouTube to get entertained, and that's fine. But a lot of the times, the content that I create will solve a certain type of problem that someone has. Like, for instance, you're watching this video now, you're listening to this podcast, and I'm giving you all the different business models that I've used over the years, which have helped me. Some of them I've not enjoyed using, some of them have been difficult, some of them have been good, some of them have been profitable. So by you watching this video and listening to this podcast, this will give you or save you a lot of time moving forward. So perhaps you're thinking about using some of these models, but now after I've told you about them, you might now be thinking otherwise. So this has maybe just saved you a ton of time, maybe years, a lot of money. So this is just my opinion. Of course, this is the stuff based on my own experience over 17, 18 years of doing this stuff on the internet. So YouTube channel, yeah, it works really well, but just remember, it doesn't stop at YouTube. There's lots of other platforms out there that you can use, especially if you've got a website. So make sure you've got a website, make sure you're building email lists, and make sure that you're on other social platforms as well. You can create podcasts. There's other video platforms out there as well. A Facebook page, Facebook group. Yeah, there's all different places out there. So YouTube channel, yeah, very, very good. And you can make money from your channel, but that isn't necessarily something that you want to focus on. Just that. There's lots of other ways that you can monetize the traffic. So moving on, number 10, writing and web services. So writing and web services. I've done this before, and these are things where you hire yourself out. So you can put yourself out there in certain places, certain areas on the internet where people will pay you to do certain things for them. So you can hire yourself out maybe as someone, as a bit of an admin support, maybe a support person, maybe a technician on their website, someone that runs their Facebook page, their Facebook group, and they will pay you for your time and for your services. I done this many, many years ago when I was scratching around trying to figure out what to do online. People paid me for some different jobs that I did online. I also wrote some articles and charged people a little bit of money for that. It's not something that I really enjoyed doing, but I know some people can make some good money from it. All I will say is, if you've got any good skills like graphic design, you can create good thumbnails for YouTube. Now AI is really big. There's lots of AI services that you could maybe offer as well. It's a much bigger, I would say there's much more demand now for services than there was like 15 years ago when I did this stuff. So there's lots more stuff that you can offer now and you can charge good money for. But what I will say is, this is not for everyone. You may not just want to trade your time for money, because this is basically what you're doing. This is good for short-time profits and short-time income, but at some point you will want to try to progress and transition into building a real business where you have customers and clients that you serve, and maybe a membership site, you build lists, products, courses. So writing and web services is good for some short-time income, but at some point you are going to want to progress and transition into building a much more sustainable and robust internet business. So moving on, number 11 is webinars. Now, I've done lots of webinars over the years. Again, my own experience, I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about webinars. I've made some good money from webinars over the years, and I know that they work. Lots of people use them, but you do have to be confident. You have to know how to conduct a webinar and how to sell on a webinar as well. Because it's not just a case of you get people on a webinar and then you pitch a product. Okay, that's not how it works. There's normally some type of a presentation that lasts for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. Some people will even create a 2-hour webinar presentation. It just depends on the price point, because generally, if it's very, very expensive, then you will have to generally, in general terms, you will generally have to make that webinar slightly longer, because the actual script, the actual sales script that you use in the webinar itself will generally be a little bit longer for products that are much more expensive. Yeah. You're generally not going to be able to sell a $5,000 course or $10,000 course or coaching course in a 10-minute webinar. Okay, that's just generally not going to happen. However, I'm not saying that no one ever does that, but my experience is, what I've learned myself is things that I wanted to sell via webinars, my webinars had to be at least 40 minutes long, because by the time you do the intro, the presentation, and then the close, and then the FAQs at the ends, you're looking at 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes long, and sometimes over an hour by the time, because some people will hang around at the end and ask questions. So most webinars, for me, in my experience, have lasted for over an hour. So webinars do work well, but you have to have traffic to funnel into the webinar. It's no good you saying to yourself, well, I'm now going to do webinars in my business because Paul told me they're really good and really profitable. Well, you can, but you need some type of a business in place first. A webinar is just a means to monetize subscribers and customers that you have by getting people on a call all at the same time, and then you can do one presentation and sell to lots and lots of different people at the same time. And yes, you can do this in video form and you can do this in an email, but a webinar, a lot of the times they are live, and live webinars are very, very impactful and very powerful because people can ask you questions at the end and you're there live on a webinar, and you do the close and you can make money as soon as the webinar finishes, or some people will even buy while the webinar is still on. So webinars do work well. As I say, I'm not going to pretend I'm not an expert at webinars. I've been doing them for a number of years and I've made some good money from them. I've had some really good results, but there's always things to learn. The same as anything. The moment you think that you know everything about a particular topic is the day when you will come unstuck, because there's always things, there's always ways that you can improve, always things that you can learn. Even if you think that you're some kind of a master at a particular model or method or strategy, always just be a little bit humble, because there's always things that you can pick up and learn, even if they're just little things, really, really small things, but they can sometimes make a big impact on the actual overall success of a webinar or a video presentation, whatever it is that you do. So moving on, so number 12, coaching and consulting. This is something that I've done many times over the years. I've learned the hard way, because in my early days, I used to take on coaching students and I didn't charge a lot of money. I only charged $297. This was back in like 2012. Now I charged $297 because I thought, well, at the time that was some good money. I could make $300 for a basically a product sale. It was a product sale. Someone would pay me $300 and I would coach them for 4 weeks. What I found was that wasn't anywhere near enough money. So I've learned the hard way. I started at $397 or $297, then I increased it to $397, and I realized again that it just wasn't anywhere near enough money, because what was happening was people that came through were not very serious. So what I did is I increased my price and I made more money, and also I attracted more qualified clients, and this is what I did. That took me a few years to kind of figure this out. I didn't take any coaching myself. I kind of just learned it as I went. Again, this is just what I've learned. This is based on my own observations over quite a few years of taking on coaching students. I pulled in, I took on a few different coaching students, and it was a nightmare. That they were just not the type of person that I could easily work with. Very, very difficult people. And I learned a lot from those coaching students. So this was back in about 2012. So I ended up increasing my price and things got a lot easier from there. So my experience is, coaching consulting works. It's very, very profitable. In fact, there's lots of people out there that make their full-time income and their full-time living as a coach and consultant. And that's fine. That's fine. I don't myself do this as a full-time sort of like occupation. I don't do this, all the time in my business. I do occasionally take on coaching students, but it isn't my main focus in my business. but I have done many times over the years. And it really depends on you, because some people don't want to coach. Some people just don't want to sit on Skype, or well, it's not Skype anymore, is it? It's Teams. Some people just don't want to get on a telephone call or get onto a Zoom call or even meet up in person and sit there and have to teach someone else what they do. Some people just don't want to do that, and I totally get it. I personally don't mind if someone approaches me and they fill out my application and they're really serious about learning from me and they want, some coaching from me, then I may consider them. But I send people through an application process. So it's not a case of someone just goes and buys my coaching. Someone will fill out my application and then I read the responses and results. If that's the sort of person that I want to work with, I will call them up and say, we'll schedule a call. But I don't take on every single person that fills out the form, because they're not always going to be a good fit for me. So you can do the same. This is what I found works for me, and I'm just saying this has worked well for me. It might not work for you, but this has worked well for me. Is I have a application which I have created using Google Docs. So if you go to Google, there is I forget what it is now, but go to Google and you can create an application using Google, and it's completely free. And this is what I do. I send people to that. They can fill out the form, fill out the answers, and as soon as they've completed it, they submit it, and then I get the answers, and then I can read it. And if that's the sort of person I want to work with, I will call them up. That's how I do things, and that's nice and simple. It's worked well for me for many years. So coaching, consulting, very good. So moving on, 2 left. So number 13, paid traffic affiliate marketing. So paid traffic affiliate marketing. So what does that mean? Well, it is what it kind of sounds like. It's affiliate marketing using paid traffic. This is something that I tried many years ago. So what happens is people will sign up to affiliate programs. You got things like ClickBank, and you've got all these other different affiliate programs out there. They'll sign up to them, find a product, and then they will promote that product on the internet somewhere. And if they make sales, they will make money. Yeah, basic. That's just simple. Yeah, you refer people to the product and you get a commission. Yeah, nice and simple. But in order to get enough traffic to that product, you need a good steady flow of traffic. And the only way to really do that is pay traffic. Not only that, but you can of course bid on keywords and make sure that you're attracting the right type of traffic for that offer. So that's going to convert in the highest possible way. So it's a case of you need to be good at paid traffic. And this is why it's so difficult. I mean, of course you can do affiliate marketing with free traffic. Yes, I do that. Yeah. And I send traffic to offers from my email list. I've got other free traffic sources, but some places out there that you sign up to become an affiliate, they are primarily places where you need paid traffic, because otherwise you're going to spend months and months trying to get traffic to promote these offers. Not only that, but you can get fast results. You can get feedback and results quickly with paid traffic. The downside is it costs money. So like I said to you, if you remember at the start of today's episode, I said, didn't I, about the CPA, which is actually the first one, CPA marketing. This is kind of a little bit similar to that, is that you can use free traffic, but it will take you much longer to get the data and get the results. So this is why I say use paid traffic if you want to go down this route. I'm not saying that you always have to use paid traffic. If you've got an email list and you've got other traffic platforms that you can use, then that's fine. But there are some cases where you just want to use paid traffic, direct it to an offer and make money and make sales. And one of the other ways you can do it, so that you're not just literally sending traffic direct to a sales page and losing the traffic forever, is you can send the traffic from your paid ad to a landing page first, and then from the landing page on to the offer. That way you're building an email list, you're building a little bit of a business, and that way you can then use the traffic again moving forward. And that's something that I've done over the years. So I've done this for a couple of years. I found it works okay, but there is a learning curve to it, because you have to know how to get traffic to your web page, and then from the web page it can then go to the affiliate offer. So I wouldn't ever direct link directly from the ad to the offer. I would go to your website first, then from the website to the offer, as I said, because that way you're building a list, and you're not just wasting your money on direct linking straight to the offer. That's not really a good way to do things. So my experience is, yeah, it works, and I know some people are absolutely killing it with this, but you have to be quite good at paid traffic. You have to know what to do with paid traffic in order to get traffic cheap enough so that you're not going to go bankrupt by the time you start making some sales. Yeah, so yeah, it's a good method to use, but it does take some time to obviously learn paid traffic. Now, the very last one we're going to cover is PLR. So what does PLR stand for? Well, private label rights. I've used PLR many times over the years. I don't really use it much anymore. PLR is basically content that you purchase and that gives you rights to use it yourself. So this is something that people can use to fast track their online success. For instance, if you want to get hold of some products to use in your business, but you don't want to spend years learning how to create products and make them yourself, you can just buy rights to other products that are already made. A good example is within Coffee Shop Income, I actually give you, just as a bonus for joining as being an active member, I actually give you a huge bundle of my own products that you can use as your own. There's over 20 paid products which I have sold myself over the years, and these are products that are still up to date and you can use yourself. So that's PLR. So that is a PLR bundle, but that is just a bonus that I give away in my Coffee Shop Income just for being an active member. So that's a good example of the type of bundle that you get. But you do have to be a little bit careful, because some PLR bundles that you buy or you can get access to are not very high quality. So it's just a case of just be a little bit careful of the ones you buy. The ones that I give away, like the bundles that I give away with PLR rights, these are products that I've made myself. But not everyone will give you products that they've made themselves. Some people will just buy products from someone else and then sell the rights on. So there's a lot of that going on, and that's fine. There are certain rules to follow, and it's all completely legit. You can buy certain rights, which then gives you the rights to sell the rights on to someone else. That's fine. But I've used PLR over the years, quite a few times. But I got to a point where I stopped buying PLR, and I ended up just selling the PLR myself, as in the PLR for my particular content that I've made myself in my own business. I've just sold PLR rights to those products, because I ended up getting to a stage where I had so much content, so many products in my business, I couldn't leverage all of them. So I ended up just selling a big bundle of products and said, look, you can buy the rights from me for one small fee. And this is what I did. And I've been doing this for a number of years. Occasionally, if I get a big bundle of products together that I don't use anymore, again, they'll still be relevant, but I just don't use them myself much anymore. I'll put them together in a bundle and sell them with PLR rights. So it is I would say it's a lucrative market to be in, and some people do have a full-time business just selling PLR stuff, and that's absolutely fine. So I've seen it from both sides. I've sold PLR offers myself, and I've also purchased PLR products myself from people and used those products that way. So I've done it both ways. But that is the entire list of different business models that I've used over the last 17 years in my business. I hope that has helped. I hope that over the course of today's episode that has really helped you and giving you a bit of an insight now as to the types of business model that you want to use moving forward, and the types of models that will really help you in your own particular circumstances. As I said, these are methods and models that I've used myself. These are business models that I've used myself in my business. These are 14 of the most popular ones. There's a few other little things that I've done, but most of the things that I've done over the last 18 years, last 17 to 18 years, fall into one of these 14 categories. And I will also say, before we end today's episode, is that most people that you see on the internet making money will be using one of these 14 methods most of the time. 99% of the people that you see around right now on the web will be using one of these 14 methods to make thousands, millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in their business. So just bear that in mind. So I've used all 14 of these, and some of them I love, some of them I don't like as much or anywhere near as much. And some of them are harder to learn. Some of them have got more potential. Some of them have got more potential to make much more money. You know, so there's pros and cons to all of them, but I hope that's helped. I hope this will save you a lot of time and a lot of messing around and a lot of money moving forward. So take it for what it is. This is my experience on using all 14 of these different income methods and models. And as I said, if you do want to get some more training from me, just go to coffeeshopincome.com/bootcamp and you can grab some more training from me. So what I've given you today is just a glimpse of all of the other stuff that I've got for you in the bootcamp. So that's completely free. Go over there, enter your email, and then I will instantly send you your first free video of the 7-day bootcamp. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Paul Nicholls Podcast Show, and another episode done. So see you in the next one. Take care.